Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otesla.
Otesla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otesla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otesla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otesla. Call 1-844-4-OTESLA or visit Otesla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
So good, so good, so good.
Get ready, because Clear the Rack is on at your Nordstrom Rack store. Now through Monday, find incredible deals on wear now styles. On sale for even less at Nordstrom Rack. Take an extra 25% off red tag clearance throughout the store from brands like Adidas, Marc Jacobs, Steve Madden, and more. All sales final. The best stuff goes fast. So shop this sale at Nordstrom Rack today. Please see NordstromRack.com or ask a store associate for details.
Are you running a horse ranch? What have you got over there?
We have a 2.5 acre horse ranch.
How many horses?
Right now we have 8.
Are there other horse ranches around you?
Yes.
Are there vets in your area?
Oh, yes.
They're not like a rare and elusive mirage, right?
This is the plaintiff, Janet Bilarski. She says her lifelong dream was to own her own horse to take for rides, so she purchased a horse named Tank from the defendants. When she got the horse home, it fell down the first time it took a walk out of the trailer. She had the horse examined, and it has some kind of ailment which causes his knees to buckle, and he falls a lot. So she wants her money back. The defendants refuse, and she's suing them here and now for the $8,000 she's owed. These are the defendants, Emmanuel Rose and his wife, Betty. They say the plaintiff rode Tank for 3 days before purchasing him. And if she had any concern, she should have had a pre-purchase vet exam. This plaintiff's just having buyer's remorse because owning a horse is a big responsibility. Of course, of course. They're accused of being naysayers.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
You seated, come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.
Janet Bilarski.
Yes.
You are suing Betty Rose and Gerald Wagner for $8,000, $7,500 that you paid for a horse and $500 for shipping it. Tell me why.
Well, what happened was I had a horse 40 years ago, and then my husband said, Janet, I'd like to take some money out of my retirement money so that you can have a horse. I know how much you love horses. So my 2 requirements for a horse was that I wanted a horse that was very calm, because I'm getting older. I didn't want a horse that was going to jump and not, I'd fall down. And then the second thing is I wanted a horse that was very smooth because I had a bad back. And I looked and saw their advertisement, and these horses have a special desensitization training. So I thought, oh, they're going to be really calm. That looks like a really neat thing. They put them through this obstacle course for a month or whatever. And so I drove down in Southern California.
How far away was it?
It was very far away. It took us like 8 hours because we got lost. It was right near the...
Okay, well, minus the lost part, how far?
It was near the Mojave Desert, and
Okay.
It was very desert-like.
All right, so go on.
I got there, and then I tried the horse.
What was the horse's name?
Tank.
Okay.
And he was really nice. He was really very smooth.
How old?
He's about 12, but, nothing set in stone of what he was. And so I thought I wanted him. And but since I was in the middle of nowhere, I did not get a vet to come.
What does that mean?
Well, it means that...
I know what you think you're saying. You're saying I was in the middle of nowhere, so there's no such thing as a vet. What kind of place? Are you running a horse ranch? What have you got over there?
We have a 2.5 acre horse ranch.
How many horses?
Right now we have 8.
Are there other horse ranches around you?
Yes.
Are there vets in your area?
Oh, yes.
They're not like a rare and elusive mirage,
no,
right?
we have a
I mean, you know that. You know.
We have a
So
regular
anyway,
vet.
you did not. The point is, you did not hire a vet to come out and take a look
I didn't
and give
know
you
any
a
of the
clean bill.
vets. They knew the vets around. I
Well,
didn't
yeah,
want
pick
to
up a
buy us
phone.
anything.
Go.
I didn't want to drive that far and go back. Probably the
Why
vet-
would you have to buy it without having a vet look at him first?
Because I was very excited.
Right, but you know there are mechanisms to, we have all kinds of ways for you to buy the horse without having to physically be there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you physically didn't have to buy the horse at that second.
I didn't have to buy the horse, but what happened was Betty said that if I didn't buy the horse, then it was a really great horse. She was going to raise the price that night and put it on the internet.
You know what I do when people tell me that and I'm going to buy something? Have at it.
She also said that many times that she stands by her horses and that she wants to make sure that the horse is a good fit for the owner.
So can I see the contract you signed?
I don't have it.
Okay, do you have it? You should always keep a copy of it.
I know, but I lost it.
No, you know what you should do? Do you have a phone? Does it take pictures?
Yeah.
Every single time I sign anything, I take a picture. So would this be the contract that you signed?
Yes, I signed this.
All right, so you can hand that to my bailiff, please. Okay, the horse is delivered, and what happens?
Okay. The same day that's delivered, within a half an hour, it came out of the trailer, and we walked it around. I gave it to my daughter. She walked it up a little trail, and it fell down. So it fell down within a half an hour of receiving the horse.
With nobody on it?
Nobody on it. She was just leading, and it fell down. So in a few days, I rode the horse, and it was not... he was not easy to manage, and I got on and he threw me off. So I fell and hurt my back and my arm.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Were you hospitalized or it wasn't
No,
that?
and I was
All right.
wearing a helmet.
Okay,
I did
good.
have to get a new
Good.
helmet. I think it cracked.
Yeah.
And
well, it did its job.
I was kind of shaken up because I wanted the horse to be really well mannered. That was like one of my things, and I had trouble getting on it. It moved away. It wouldn't stand still. So anyway, a few days
You think
later...
maybe the horse was, you're new, its environment new, that maybe it was freaked out?
Not really, because it's been trained, and most horses that are well trained will stand there when people are mounting them, and will walk and won't jump sideways and this kind of thing.
When you drove the 8 hours and rode the horse, how long did you ride the horse?
About a half an hour.
And nothing bad happened. You liked it. That's why you bought it.
Well, yes, but it was over 100 degrees down there, and they had them out in the sun, and I suspect maybe that was one of the reasons that it was so calm.
Okay, so anyway, so now, so you start having these problems with the horse, and what happens? You hire a vet to come over now and take a look at the horse and figure it out. And what?
So that's when I called and got the vet, and the vet came out.
Okay.
And it ended up, after some tests, it had a neurological disease.
Can I see the vet report?
Sure.
You've heard her testify the things that the horse did when the horse got there. What say you about that? Did that behavior ever exhibit itself when you guys had the horse?
Not at all, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, we have 2 videos that we'd like to, and actually Mrs. Bielorusky came and stayed with us with her daughter for 3 days. And she didn't ride the horse for half an hour. She rode it for 3 days.
Did you stay with them for 3 days?
No, I just stayed overnight one day.
She was with us for 3 days.
No.
With her daughter, and rode the horse. My wife, who's a trainer, gave her lessons. So there was nothing wrong with the horse whatsoever.
Okay, let me ask you this, though. Have you seen the reports?
I have not.
Okay. He's saying EPM. Would any of you like to tell me what EPM is?
It's equine protozoal myocephalitis.
And what does that mean?
It's a neurological disorder, which is disguised. It's very hard to detect. It is caused by horses being exposed to possums. We have no possums out in the high desert where we live. That's how it's spread.
Which acquires the organism from cats, raccoons, skunks, armadillos. We're getting far afield of what I want to talk about. This is you gave me a, who's this?
This is the plaintiff.
Okay. I didn't recognize her in street clothes.
Yeah. And so she rode the horse to her satisfaction, and she was very happy with the horse.
Can I say something else?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was nervous about buying the horse, but I was very assured by Betty. She said, we stand by our horses. In fact, both of them said, we stand by our horses.
Right.
And
what did you take that to mean?
That if something happened, I could
get a refund?
I could return it. In fact, Betty said.
Hold on. I want you to wait a second. What did you take this to mean, which is what you signed? Buyer acknowledges there are no addendums or agreements other than what's in here. Buyer acknowledges that tank is to her satisfaction and agrees to purchase tank as is. Buyer acknowledges that all sales are final. Buyer acknowledges, capital letters, all sales are final. Buyer hereby acknowledges and agrees that the bill of sale and purchase agreement contains a no return policy. So what did you think those words meant?
Yes, but verbally, Betty said to me that I could exchange the horse.
Did you say that?
No, I did not.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, the plaintiff didn't take the horse to a vet, has problems. Is it tough luck? Is a horse like a car in that respect?
I believe that they should have taken it to a vet to have it checked out.
But if you don't, is it just tough luck?
There should be a certain amount of time that the horse should not get sick for, like 30 days or 45 days or something.
Okay, that's an interesting argument. You buying what she's saying?
Yes, I'm totally buying what she's saying. It's definitely makes sense.
So you're saying a horse is not like a car, so that if you just don't take it to a vet, but the horse is sick, you get your money back?
I don't know about that one, Harvey. I think you get what you buy.
Well, do you have to take a horse to a vet like you take a car to a mechanic?
I think if you're serious about it, you should.
Okay, going inside the courtroom.
So what did you end up doing with the horse?
I sent the horse away. I gave the horse to a man who had out to pasture, and then I bought another horse from him, paid another $3,500, and now I have a new horse.
So was Tank part of that deal?
Yes, because I couldn't ride him anymore.
So then why are you suing for the entire purchase price when you got some value for Tank, didn't you?
No, not really. No. He said, I'll take Tank. I'll take Tank, and if he gets better after all this medication, maybe I can sell him and make a couple $1,000s. If not, I will keep him out in pasture and I won't put him to sleep. So that was really the incentive. And he would come and take the horse. It cost.
Why did you pay so little for that other horse?
Well, that's more of a standard of a price for that type of horse.
$3,500?
Yeah, but the reason I paid more for Tank was the special training.
Okay. All right, here's where our problem lies, and I think that you know this. I can only enforce the rights that you bargained for, okay? So you have a contract that specifically uses the words as is and says, hey, buyer beware, capital letters everywhere. All sales are final, no returns. I don't know why on God's green earth you would buy the horse without having a vet look at it. So if you decide that you're going to buy a horse without having it checked out by a vet, how am I supposed to pretend you didn't sign that contract and say, give this lady back her money?
Well, I can tell you that they were dishonest. I have an email here. Contrary to your assertion, Betty and I are not in the business of selling horses. Well, I have about 6 ads showing they are in the business of selling horses. And he said, you signed the contract as is. And I looked up some laws. I didn't just put this suit together until I looked up some lemon laws for horses in California.
Okay.
And it said you don't have to strictly abide by a written contract if there was verbal intervention, if there was pressure. It's sort of like a used car salesman. She said, I'm going to sell the horse if you don't get it. Once I went, yeah.
You are a grown woman. Grow a backbone. Nobody put a gun to your head to buy the horse.
No.
You have regret because you didn't have the horse looked at beforehand. And that's on you. The verdict in this case is for the defendant.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Well, I think the plaintiff is surprised she lost this case. What do you think?
I am surprised because there is verbal agreements also that go on besides the contract. And I read some lemon laws, but if you look at just the contract, yes, they sold it to me like that.
Well, you live by the written contract.
I suppose you do. That's the law, but it's not justice.
It's like buying a car.
And yeah,
as is.
And there are lemon laws for cars too.
I didn't know there was a lemon law for a horse.
Yes, there is lemon law for horses. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, you can't prevail. You know, I think it's pretty gutsy for you at this point in your life to want a horse to go out and ride.
Well, that's right. I was so excited. I really didn't want to wait. That was part of it. I didn't want my husband to change his mind and say, oh, well, you can't get the horse now. So that was an incentive to get it quickly.
So how about what you have now? You're riding now?
I'm riding a really nice horse now.
Okay.
So I just lost a lot of money.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Okay.
Okay,
You
thank
couldn't
you.
prevail. All right, here come the defendants now. Did you know there was a lemon law for horses?
There is no lemon law for horses.
I was going to say, I haven't heard of that
No,
before.
there's no lemon law for horses, for cars.
Yeah. Do you feel sorry for her that she felt that you didn't treat her right?
Yeah, but she's just
She never
not
walked the horse or anything.
She's not a horsewoman.
You said she stayed 3 days. She said only one. You
I
couldn't even
understand.
agree on that.
3 days.
Yeah, interesting. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay. Harvey?
Okay, the plaintiff's talking about some verbal agreement that was made and you have writing. Never, ever rely on a verbal agreement if there's a writing in place. Add that verbal agreement to the writing. You will lose otherwise. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This episode is brought to you by the Toyota Grand Highlander. From daily routines to life-changing adventures, the Toyota Grand Highlander is spacious, powerful, and ready to take on life's grand challenges. Advanced safety features and innovative technology give you confidence for whatever life throws at you. And it's available in a hybrid Nightshade Special Edition, which includes sophisticated gloss black exterior accents and 20-inch black alloy wheels. Learn more at toyota.com/Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
Go further with the American Express Business Gold Card. Earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels when you book through AmexTravel.com. Whether your destination is a business conference or a client meeting, your purchases will help you earn more points for future trips. Experience more on your travels with Amex Business Gold. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
This is the plaintiff, Ron Stovall. She says she brought one earring into the defendant's jewelry store, paid him to make a replica of it, so she had 2 identical earrings, and when she went back a few days later, the guy told her he melted down the earring and tried to sell her 2 replacements. Huh? The defendant's nothing more than a scammer. She's here in the name of justice, seeking the $175 she's now owed, and is suing for just that. This is the defendant, Rod Cohen. He says the earring the plaintiff brought in was discontinued, so he showed her 2 pairs of very similar ones, and she started to cry. He told her in order to manufacture one to match the other earring, it was going to cost $600, and she gave the okay to have it made. Now she's refusing to pay him for his work. And if anyone's owed money today, it's him, not the plaintiff. He's accused of causing a customer to cry. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $450, the amount he's still owed for the new matching earring.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says she brought one earring into the defendant's jewelry store to make a matching earring, and instead of doing that, he melted it. But the defendant says she got super emotional and is just plain wrong. It's the case of stick it in your ear.
Thank you, Douglas.
Welcome
Okay, Ms. Stovall.
Good morning.
So you had an earring that had sentimental value to you, and you wanted to have it, you lost one of them.
Yes.
So you went to his store in order to have a replica made, correct?
Yes.
When you went there, did he give you a price on having that replica?
Yes.
What did he say?
$275.
All right. And did he say he would be able to do it?
Yes.
And then what happens? You put down how much?
I gave him $50 as a down payment.
And did you receive something in writing saying what your balance
Yes.
was and what you'd paid? May I see what you received?
This is a second.
All right.
Okay. So how long did he tell you it would take?
He didn't tell me how long it was going to take.
Okay, so all it says is 14 karat, 275, 50, and then it's subtracted, and then it says 225.
Yes.
Okay. So you go home and then you get a phone call. And what does a phone call say?
He told me that he had my earrings ready, that I should come look at them.
So you come by
that it
and you
was
look at the
nice.
earrings, and what do you...
They wasn't my earrings. He showed me 2 pairs of earrings, and neither of them were mine.
Okay, did he tell you he was going to be showing you 2 pairs of earrings?
No, he didn't.
Okay,
He just-
and they were different than
They
what
were
your earrings?
completely different earrings.
All right. When you called her, what were you calling her for to have her come in? To do what?
To see the similar earrings.
Similar earrings. But did you call her and tell her, lady, I can't they don't make your earring anymore, so I can't buy it. So I'm going to have you come in and show you 2 other types of earrings. Did you tell her that? Or did you just say your earrings are ready?
I said the factory sent me 2 samples similar to yours. You come here, look at it.
I don't think you did. I don't think you did. I think you said your earrings are ready.
Your Honor,
okay, let's say the earring is ready.
You have the voice. Yeah, let's play the voicemail of what he said.
Okay.
That's important because it's indicative of a lack of respect of someone else's time and of what someone else told you they wanted. So, I mean, she's not a child. She had a very specific request of you that you said you could do. So, let's hear the message. Put it to the microphone, please.
How are you? I have your earring ready. Nice. Please come look at it. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, so you tell her earrings are ready, but what you plan to do is see if she'll just buy these other earrings from you, correct? What she asked you to make a replica. Why didn't you just do what she asked and paid for? She asked you to make a replica of that earring.
So can a jeweler make an absolute replica of one earring? Is that possible?
I think you can get as close as you can to it. My mom's had it done before, but exact is really hard just to kind of get that matching pair.
Yeah. What do you say?
I don't think you can because you didn't have the blueprint to make it.
Well, the blueprint is the earring, right?
Well, I guess so, but the exact replication.
But the earring's better than a blueprint, isn't it?
I don't
say you're wrong.
I'm wrong.
Okay, going inside the courtroom.
I sent the sample to the factory. The factory called me. They said, this is discontinued to make. We have similar to that to show it to the customer. If she like it, that's fine. If not, bring it back.
Okay, that's kind of different than what I'm asking. She came to you to see if you could make a replica, not find another one. It sounds like what you were planning to do was find another one, and then when you couldn't, you tried to bait and switch her and say, take these. You didn't want them. That scene didn't go very well. You started crying. You mentioned your deceased father. What was that about?
Well, he kept talking to me in a loud, disrespectful manner, as though he was my dad. That's the only person that will talk to you in that manner. And I said, my father is dead. Stop talking to me like that.
Okay.
You know, and I kept asking him, I said, I want my earring back. I want the sample.
And what did he say to you about the earring?
He told me that he couldn't give it back to me because it was melted down.
Okay, but that didn't happen, right? You didn't melt the earring.
No.
No. Do you have the earring on you?
Yes, I have everything.
Do
Let
you
me
have
explain.
Can I see the? So what is it that happens after she gets upset?
Let me explain everything.
Yeah. Start
She
from
said, this is very important to me because my father died. This is my father's memory. Do it for me. Just do it. She was crying.
Okay.
So I called the factory the next day. The factory said, if you want me to make one side, it has to be molding, soldering, solid gold, which is more heavier than her sample.
Because hers was what? Hers was hollow?
Yes.
Okay.
Because she said, just do it. So I did it. They charged me $500. I have the receipt, everything.
Okay.
This is her sample. This is what I made, solid gold. This is the first sample which the factory sent it to me to show her, and she refused.
Okay.
Okay, no
We're not going to
problem.
confuse those, right? I'm afraid of confusing them. Hold on.
We made these by molding.
This is her sample.
Yeah, one of them is more heavier, is mine.
Yeah, it's obvious.
See, this is the molding. They have to do molding in order to make one side, and it's going to be much heavier.
Way heavier. She'll be walking around like this.
Yeah, that's the way she wants, yes. She said, this is very important to me because of my father's died. I want to keep it as a memory.
Let me tell you that it's a really good, what is this?
That was she just wearing.
A picture of you wearing the earrings?
Picture of the real earring.
Yeah.
And then I changed the price from $275 to $600. She gave me $150.
Wait, hold on. When does she learn how much more it's going to cost?
I told her on the phone, over the phone.
Wait. When did you tell her that on the phone? It's sometime after the factory.
After the 23rd of January, I think.
Okay, is that after the factory made the replica and gave you the bill? How did you know what to tell her? Did
the factory said this is going to cost you $500.
So
because she said, do it. This is memory of my father. She was crying to my place.
So you said, go ahead to the factory.
Yes, over the phone. She said, okay. So I called the factory and said, do it.
Over the phone, did you ever approve paying $600?
No.
Okay.
This is the receipt. They charged me $500.
Yeah, I don't doubt that for a second. I believe you on that, and I believe you should make money off of it. So it's fair
Well,
for
thank
you to
you.
charge us $600. The problem that we have is, did she approve it? Because if she didn't
Over the phone, she
I know
approved
you keep
it.
saying
That's
that.
the reason I
Watch
ordered to the factory.
I know, but when you get an approval over the phone, now you got to prove it. Look at this. Did you approve it over the phone?
No, I didn't.
So what happens? You end up going back to the store.
When I went back to the store and gave him the extra $100, he never told me that it was going to cost more. It wasn't
And
until...
then when do you find out? You find out after the earring's made,
After the
and
earrings
he does
was
call
made,
you,
and he
but he
calls
tells
me.
you, and the earring's already made.
Yes.
So then you decide, I don't want to do this, and I don't want the earring. And what do you ask him? You come back with the police.
I went to the store with the police, and when I asked her, I told him I didn't want my deposit, the $150 deposit back. I didn't want the earring he made me back. I just want my sample back. And he tells me I have to pay him $600 for it.
All right. So what's your version of what happens when she comes? She comes with the police and she wants her earring back, and what happens?
All I'm saying, because over the phone she confirmed, and that's the reason I ordered. Otherwise, I wouldn't have spent $500.
When was the phone call? Can anybody prove when the phone call happened, like from phone records or anything?
The phone call came in on
Can I see your receipt from the other place where they charge you $500?
On December...
Which phone call are you talking about? I want to make sure.
On January 5th, I believe, but then they cost $600.
When do you say you called her?
After 23rd of January. And
All
she
right.
said,
you know,
because
though,
she
then,
said,
that
just
you're
do
telling
it.
her that after you've already made the earrings. It's not before. You didn't get her permission before. The receipt you're giving me is dated November 4th. You have to prove to me she approved that before you had it done. And that's where the problem lies.
I charged her $275.
How much did you pay?
I paid him $150 altogether. I gave him $150.
What is your lawsuit is what? What's your lawsuit?
I was suing for $175 because...
But what you really want is the earring back.
Yes.
Right?
That's all I want back,
Right.
my earring.
She said, okay, over the phone.
I know, but you
Just
understand,
do it.
you
I'm
understand it's
crying.
your word against hers, and she's saying, I never said okay over the phone. And when you tell me she said okay over the phone on January 23rd, and I see that the receipt to have the replica made was just done a month and a half, 2 months,
Yeah, it takes time to make.
earlier. 2 months earlier. November 4th. Well, then it doesn't sound to me like you got her okay before having it made. So this is on you. I'm not only going to return your earring, I'm going to order him to. You paid $150 for a replica. You didn't get one. Now, the only other question I want to ask you is maybe there's a way to solve this so that both sides leave happy or not so unhappy. My inclination is to give you your $150 back and give you this earring back. But someone went through a lot of trouble to make a replica. To me, this would bother me because the other one's heavier.
It would bother
but
me
to
too.
other people, it might not bother. Do you want to try these on?
No.
No?
I just want mine back.
Okay. Well, you're going to get yours back, and you're also going to get the $150 because you're not a little kid. You went in there with a specific request, you made a contract, and they were unable to keep the contract for the price they sold it to you on. So the right result is to return your earring and give you back your $150. That is what I am going to do, and on your counterclaim 0 for the reasons I've already described. Your own testimony says you called her for approval on 1/23, and the earring had already been made on 11/4/18, according to your own receipt. So this earring and this receipt goes back to the defendant on your counterclaim 0. On your claim, here is your earring. Plus, I am ordering the defendant to pay you back $150. That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Thank you, Jan.
So the plaintiff gets what she is seeking here in the People's Court. Mr. Cohen, what do you think about this? It's a fascinating case.
This is not right. You know, we worked hard. We made the gold for the lady. We spent money, and then now...
Well, you heard the judge's verdict that, you know, based on that receipt you had, she's convinced you had it made before she approved it. So what are you going to do with the other earring? You're getting that back, the one that was made.
I got to
Figure that
maybe
out, right?
another one to sell it,
Okay.
or
All right.
to someone who has only one ear.
Only one ear. Thank you very much. That's a good idea. Okay, the door is that way, Mr. Cohen, right?
Thank
That
you.
way? Okay. All right, Ms. Stovall, you're going to get back exactly what you wanted. You satisfied now?
Yes, I am.
And you're not, you couldn't use that other one, right? Sorry, I
No,
mean, it's
I'd be
a good replica,
lopsided.
maybe a little out of whack, but
No, I'll be lopsided.
all right, good enough. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Okay. Okay, Harvey.
Okay, Doug, short and sweet. This was bait and switch, classic, and the judge rescinded the contract. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Hey guys, back at the playground again, huh?
Yep. You know what this playground could use? A wine country.
Heck yeah, and some waves, so we could go surfing. Oh,
Ah, love that. A redwood forest would be cool. I'm in.
Ah, ski slopes.
Let's do it.
Can a girl go shopping?
Yeah, baby.
Wait! Did we just invent California?
Discover why California is the ultimate playground at visitcalifornia.com.
This is the plaintiff, Edward McKiernan Jr. He says his former landlord's trying to pull a fast one on him by only offering to return 50% of his security deposit because he's mad they moved out. He left the place in better shape than when he got it. This is a typical case of a landlord trying to take advantage of a tenant for no good reason. And he's here seeking the $3,200 he's most definitely owed. This is the defendant, Michael Orris Sr. He says this is a clear-cut case of a tenant breaking a lease, not giving proper notice, and just up and leaving 2 months early. He's not about to eat the 2 months' rent. The security he kept is covering those 2 months, and he owes this former tenant nothing. He's accused of treating a tenant terribly.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says his former landlord is screwing him over by keeping half of his security, but the defendant says the plaintiff cut and ran, so tough. It's the case of renter's regret.
Thank you, Douglas. Edward McKiernan.
Right here, Your Honor.
You are suing Michael Orros Sr. for double the $1,600 security deposit that you say he has wrongfully withheld. What's going on?
That's correct, Your Honor. So this is the first apartment my wife and I rented as a new couple. Been married for 6 years. I was in the Marine Corps, got out. This is our first apartment we had together in the United States. She's an immigrant from the Philippines. So, we were looking around on Craigslist, and we decided to move into his apartment. We were residents there for 2 years. Never really had any issues for the most part until around our 6-7 month there. I noticed coming home from work late, kind of smelled like a Grateful Dead concert, I guess. I'll leave it at that.
No, don't leave it at that. I don't know what you're saying. It smelled like pot?
It smelled like marijuana,
Okay,
yes.
and
correct.
who lives, what kind of a building is this?
It's an old Victorian 3-family home.
And are there 3 families living there?
Yes, I was on the 3rd floor. He was in the 1st floor, and his son, granddaughter, and new daughter-in-law were in the 2nd floor.
And which apartment was the smell of marijuana coming from?
Well, it was, you share one stairway, and you would smell the second you walked in the door going up the stairs.
So you're saying from the 1st floor?
Yes.
So you're saying that the smell of marijuana was emanating from his apartment?
From the 1st floor all the way up to the 3rd floor. You'd smell it all the way up into the apartment.
And then when did that start bothering you?
Like I said, around probably 6 months in, Your Honor.
So what'd you do about it? Did you ever mention it to him?
I mentioned it once. Well, one time it was actually, I didn't mention it. I didn't take the initiative and actually tell him. We got into a small altercation about, I think I was like throwing the recycling in the trash, like individual water bottles in the trash can. And he basically called me out on it, and then I called him out on smelling the marijuana in the apartment. So that's kind of how I brought it up to his attention.
Okay.
So after that, we decided financially it was just smart to stay for that extra year. It's the 2nd year.
Did you sign a new lease?
Yes, we did, Your Honor.
May I see that new lease?
Yes, you may. Right there.
That's the 2nd lease?
That's the renewal, Your Honor, yes.
Okay.
Correct.
When did you end up moving?
We officially handed in the keys November 6th.
Okay. And so what happens? Your wife has a baby?
We had a child back in 2014. He's a 3-year-old. He's 4-year-old now. But at the time, she couldn't take the stairs anymore just because of her surgery.
Okay, you had said my wife had just had a C-section.
Oh, well, it was from the surgery 3 years prior to us moving in.
From 3 years earlier? Now
Yeah,
the stairs are bothering her? She's lived there the whole time without the
Yeah.
stairs bothering her. The C-section from 3 years ago.
Apparently, it's bothering her.
Come on up. I got to hear about this. Are you the wife?
That's
I'm sorry,
my
that's
right
a
there.
wife. Come on up.
Yeah, actually, yes, it's bothering me a lot. And, you know, when I go upstairs, it's like for the grocery I carry upstairs, it's hard for me. And I have a, 3-year-old child, and that's why I don't want to live in upstairs anymore, so.
Okay. All right, so go on.
Oh, like I said, also to add on to hers, the main reason why we stayed, even though she was going through pain, was just financially, it was just sound at the time. And then,
Okay, but you have a lease, and your lease takes you through December. So what happens to make you decide I'm leaving?
Okay, we'll get to, all right, yes.
Yeah, that is the
all right,
lawsuit.
so-
He kept your money because he
yeah,
says you breached a lease.
yeah. So September 19th of 2018, he called my spouse. He never really communicated with me when it came to business. He always communicated with my wife. I just probably thought because English was a second language, it'd be easier to take advantage.
Well, why didn't you just say, talk to me instead?
He always avoided me whenever
Well, why
we
don't you just
tried.
call him?
Wouldn't answer phone, call. You know, it's just typical
Is that
dodging.
it, or you just leave these things to your wife to handle?
No,
Because I live in a
don't.
house where the
Yeah.
guy leaves these things
Yeah.
to his wife to handle. Okay? I know exactly what that looks like, all right? Go
I mean,
ahead.
sometimes it's a good tactic to use, Your Honor,
Yeah,
but,
I know.
mean,
for him and
for
you. But go ahead.
for the most part, it would just dodge all the time.
If you want to sit, you can go ahead and sit if you want. All right, so go on.
Where was I? But that date, he left my wife a voicemail asking us if we were going to stay. We responded with a no. And he said, okay, well, anytime between now and then, if you find a place, you're welcome to move. So at
Okay,
the time.
hold on, put a pin on it right there. Did you say that to him?
No, I did not.
Okay, how are you going to prove what you just said? Because normally landlords don't say that. Landlords
Yes.
want you to pay rent. They don't want to have to re-rent it until they absolutely have to. They already have a contract with you which says you got to pay rent. So why would a landlord say, you know what, I'll just eat your rent? That doesn't sound legit. So prove to me that he said that.
Well, I actually have no evidence. You know,
Okay, so then what happened? You decide you're going to move. When do you decide that?
So we decided to move. Like I said, we let him know that right then and there that we weren't going to be staying. Her friend, who's our current landlord, has a nice condo complex in Wallingford, and she's like, "Well, it's a hot spot, and a lot of people are looking at it. Do you want it?" And we definitely weren't going to pass down on that. And plus, she's
so you just found somewhere better to live that you needed to snap up. All right.
Yes,
now, do you have anything else to prove that you're entitled to breach the contract besides telling me he said you could?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, let me hear from you. When did you find out that they were leaving?
Right after Halloween, 2018.
How did you find out?
Came home, they were moving.
They were physically moving.
Oh, yeah,
you
they were moving.
physically see them moving.
Yep.
Oh, okay. And then they're physically moving, and what do you say?
I said, oh, what's going on? They said, oh, we found another place.
And did you happen to say anything about rent for the next 2 days or next 2 months, or you didn't because you had the security?
I didn't say anything because I didn't want to make any problems, any confrontation. And I just said, okay. And
then they moved. And so when did he ask you for the security back?
On November 6th, when they handed the keys in, that's when they said they're out.
6th of November. Okay. So, but yet you're suing for your entire security deposit back, even though you agree that he couldn't have rented it out for the month of November because you didn't even leave until the 6th.
Well, we haven't handed over the keys until the 6th. That's correct. Yes.
Okay. How much security is in place? 1,600?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not seeing where you would be entitled to 1,600, much less 3,200. What is your complaint?
Well, something didn't seem right, so I called Craig. He's a local lawyer. I didn't hire him or anything. He just gave me some friendly advice. He told me to look into the town of Wallingford to see if the apartment has a certificate of compliance with the town. I did that. It does not. I have a letter from the town of Wallingford saying that it's not up to code.
Okay, let me see that.
Yes, Your Honor. There's the letter right there. Yes, thank you.
Okay, this is a letter that purports to be from the town of Wallingford in January of this year, saying that a review of their office records reveals there is no valid rental certificate of compliance on file for the rental dwelling referenced above. What say you to that? Because if what you're keeping it for is rent, you got to be able to rent it.
Yes, I did get a copy of that also.
So what happened? What's that about?
Right away, I called them. They came down. They looked at it. I've got the certificates right here for everything's fine.
As a certificate dated after
Well,
the
it's
2 months
after,
of
but
rent
that's
that you're
because
asking for?
Exactly. That's because I didn't know about that at the time.
How do you not know? What do you mean?
Because they never told me. I've always had the fire marshal come every year, and they've always checked it. And they were there one time when the fire marshal came through and checks the whole house.
So what is it they didn't tell you? When you say they didn't tell me, what do you mean?
I didn't know. It's not that they didn't tell me. I had no clue that I was supposed to have another inspection on top of the fire marshal.
But everybody knows in Connecticut you got to get a CO before you rent, because they're really strict in Connecticut. How is it? But then why would the fire marshal be visiting?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I figured that covered everything. That, I guess I was wrong. I didn't know.
I guess they don't chit-chat? The fire department and the code enforcement people?
Even the fire marshal that came by yesterday and checked it all out told me he just found out about that also. He didn't know there was one.
So if somebody in that house is smoking a lot of pot and you don't like the smell, and the lease doesn't say anything about it, can you bail?
I think you can bail, but I mean...
Can you?
I think you can, but I don't think it's the person's fault for smoking pot, especially if it's...
Well, I'm not saying fault, but I mean, can one person leave if they're smoking pot and let's say it's legal?
Yeah, they want to.
Well, no, if you want to is when you lose your security.
I think they should, because if it's bothering them, then that's a health risk. You know, that's something detrimental to their health.
Okay, going inside the courtroom.
So I have a quandary here, and my quandary is this. I think you've perjured yourself in my courtroom. When you tell me that he told you, yeah, no problem, you go ahead and move, I think that's perjury. When you tell me that the reason you wanted to move was the health and welfare of your baby and your wife, I think that's perjury. I think the reason you wanted to move was that there was a friend with an apartment and it was going to be a better situation for you. I don't like that. And you're asking me to enforce the bonanza of a double penalty. And I'm not feeling that warm all over glow to do it for you when this is the situation that presents itself. However, you don't get to keep that $1,600 because you can't collect rent from someone if you don't have a CO. That's the law. And if you can't collect the rent, then you cannot keep the security deposit to collect the rent because you didn't have a CO, okay? But it'll be a snowy day in hell before I allow someone to blatantly breach a contract and get double the security deposit. That's intended as a remedy for unscrupulous landlords and a tenant who is victimized by it. And that security deposit is wrongfully withheld there. Not for a situation like this. The security deposit was rightfully withheld. You breached the contract. But as it turns out, I must return it to him. So it's not going to be double, but you must return the $1,600 because you can't collect it as rent. That is my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Well, because he was ignorant of the law, the defendant has to give back $1,600. What a surprise for you, huh?
It was a surprise. Yes, it was, but it was a learning experience also. You know, I got to have that COA, and next time I'll be ready.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. Okay, good enough. Thank you very much. Good luck to you. Okay. Now, Mr. McKernan,
How are you?
the judge thinks you were lying to her. What do you think?
That's unfortunate she believes that, but I was telling the truth. Before this, we really didn't have a bad relationship as landlord-tenant. It just was until...
She thinks you wanted to get out quick because you found a better
Yeah, I mean, granted, it was definitely a better deal, what we got. But at the end of the day, we just weren't comfortable there anymore.
All right.
So.
Are you okay now? Happy now where you're living?
Oh, yeah, we love it. It's great.
Good for
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Night and day.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're going to get your money back, okay?
All right, thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. Harvey?
By the way, Doug, you know this, but when you perjure yourself in court, that is called a crime.